Hi, guys, and welcome back from Christmas break. I hope you all had a great Christmas break and are ready to come back to third quarter and begin working. I do want to say at this point, please be careful with your grades. If you had bad grades first and second quarter, now's the time to really step up your game and work really hard to get good grades for third and fourth quarter. Half the year's gone, so we're ready for the second half, ready to get good grades, turn in all assignments on time. The assignments are not going to be allowed to be turned in as late as we were before. For this one, if you have any assignments, they'll have to be turned in before you take the test, or I won't count them. Okay. And then remember, I had said fourth quarter that we have no late assignments. That you can't turn them in late. So make sure for third quarter you turn them in on time. Um, don't get too far behind and think, oh, well, I can turn them in later. You're going to be taking some points off for not turning them in on time. So make sure that you are getting them to me. So we're going to be working today on dividing fractions, the inquiry lab. It is on page 313 in your book. And I'm going to work through the first part with you and then let you work with a partner on the homework. So we are starting here on page 313. It says, how can using models help you divide one fraction by another fraction? So Toby bought 8/9 of a pound of trail mix from the grocery store. He wants to divide the trail mix into 2/9 pound bags. How many bags can Toby make? So what do we know? We know that Toby bought 8/9 of a pound of trail mix and he wants to divide them into 2/9 pound bags. Okay. So we're going to write that. Toby bought 8/9 of a pound of trail mix that he wants to divide into 2/9 pound bags. And what do we need to find? Right there, the question, how many bags can he make? Okay, and if I'm going too fast for you, you can pause the video and write your notes out. Everything I write, I want you to write in your book, please. You need to write all of this because these are your notes. Okay, so for hands-on activity 1, to solve the problem, use the division sentence, 8/9 divided by 2/9. This shows how many groups of 2/9 are in 8/9. Okay, so 8/9 is like our whole. We're cutting it into 2/9 sections. And we want to find out how many 2/9 are in 8/9. So to make the bar diagram that represents the amount of Toby's trail mix, divide the bar into 9 sections because this is our denominator. So we're cutting it into 9 sections, and I am not very good at this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that's not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now we want to shade in 8/9. So we're going to shade in 8 of those sections, and you want to shade in light enough that you can still see the line underneath there. Okay. So I'm just kind of going to lightly go over like this and say that that's shaded in. Okay. So that, excuse me, that represents 8/9. Okay. So for step 3, circle each group of 2/9 in the shaded section. So that's why you wanted to be able to see, sorry about that. That's why you wanted to be able to see the lines underneath. So we're circling 2/9. So 1, 2. Right here, we're going to circle these 2. Okay, that's one bag. And then 1, 2. That's your second bag, and then 1, 2. That's your third bag, and then 1, 2. That's 4 bags, right? So there are 4 groups of 2 nights in 8 nights. So 8 nights divided by 2 nights is 4. So Toby can make 4 bags of trail mix that each weigh 2/9 of a pound. That's what this bar diagram shows. Okay. All right, let's go on to page 314. Hands-on activity 2 says draw a diagram to find 3/4 divided by 3/8. Now, if your numbers are not the same on the bottom, you can't do it on the bar diagram, on the model. Tomorrow we'll learn how, when dividing, you can do that without having the same denominator. But on a model, a bar diagram, they have to have the same number. So these both have to have the same denominator. So 3/4, if I take that times 2, I would get 8 on bottom, right? So we want to rename that fraction as 6/8. Now they both have 8. So we're going to rename it 6/8. Now draw a diagram with 8 sections. That's what our denominator is, 8 sections. And we want to shade in 6 of them to represent 6/8 of a pound. So what I'm going to do first is cut it into 4 semi-equal sections and then cut that in half. And that gives me 8 sections. Okay. Now it says shade in 6 of them. Again, we want to make sure that we can still see the lines underneath. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now circle each group of 3/8 in the shaded section. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. And I don't circle this because it's not shaded. So there are 2 groups of 3/8 and 6/8. So 3/4 divided by 3/8 is 2. Now, hands-on activity 3, draw a diagram to find 2/3 divided by 2. So draw a diagram and shade the sections to represent 2/3. So we know that 3 is the bottom number. So we want 3 equal sections, okay? And we want to shade in 2 of them. So we're going to shade in 2/3. Okay. Now we want to divide the shaded sections into 2 equal groups. We're dividing by 2. Okay. So here's 1 and here's 1. They're semi-equal because I didn't make the lines very straight, but so write the fraction that names each group. Each of these is 1/3, right? This is 1/3 and this is 1/3. So 2/3 divided by 2 is 1/3. Each of them is just one of the 3 sections, okay? All right, so I'm going to go to the homework page. Now on here, you're going to do the same thing. The denominator, this number, tells you how many sections. Okay, so that's, whoops, I'm trying to draw an arrow. That didn't look like an arrow. That's how many sections I can't write today. How many sections? The top number on the first one tells you how many shaded. And the top number on the second one tells you how many in each group that you're going to circle. Okay. So for this one, 7 sections. You're going to divide this into 7 sections, shade in 6 of them, and then circle groups of 2. Okay? And then how many groups you have, that's your answer. Same thing with this one. You've got 5. That's how many you divide them into. Shade 4 of them. Circle groups of 2. How many groups you have is your answer. Same thing with 3. But when you get to 4, you don't have the same number. You have 10 and 5. So you need to make this a 10, right? So we would have 8/10 divided by, and you want to take this times 2 to get 10. So that'd be 4/10. 8/10 divided by 4/10. And then you would do the same thing. Cut this into 10 sections, shade in 8 of them, and then you're going to circle groups of 4. And then how many groups of 4 you have is your answer. For number 5, you're going to find that common denominator. So 1/2 and 3/4, the common denominator would be 4. So you would change this to 2/4. Okay? So you're going to divide it by 2/4. Find the common denominator here for 6 and 3. For number 7, you don't need to find a common denominator. We just divide it into 2 groups. Okay? And then the 2, how many are in that group tells us the answer. Same thing with 12/13 divided by 3. You're going to cut it into, well, first you'll have your 13 sections, shade in 12 of them, and then you want 3 groups. So then that would tell you how many are in each group is going to be your answer. Okay, so those are a little bit different. Tomorrow you will grade this with Mr. Winty, and then you want to put your name on it and turn it in so that he and Miss Westbrook can go over it and get those grades recorded for you. Like I said, don't not turn homework in on time. Okay, you want to make sure you're turning it in on time. I'm not giving you a lot of homework. There's only 10 to 12 problems every night. You can do that. That's not much homework at all. So make sure you're getting that done. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me, Mr. Winty, or Miss Westbrook. I hope you have a good night, and I will talk to you later.